Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru.
Hi there. Have you heard about the Sikhs?
No.
No, we're a bit of an unknown quantity out there.
Okay.
We're the 5th largest religion, but we're not shouting types. We don't try to convert people. So for that reason, we're a bit quiet. So it's our first time out here. Well, yeah, no, I didn't come here to shout at anybody. I thought I'd come and just raise awareness. We call this project Sikhism Awareness for Everyone. It's not a conversion-orientated project, you know. It's just we're aware that we have a lot of physical similarities with our friends on the right there, and people often assume that we're Muslims. I don't know, what would you have thought when you looked at me? I mean, I don't know if you probably...
Yeah, I'd have probably said Muslim.
Really? Okay. Well,
Because I'm uneducated in that sense.
well, it's mostly our fault. I don't blame anybody, really. I mean, why should people tell other people about you when you don't tell people about yourself? So, yeah. So I don't blame anybody for that. Well, we started about 500 years ago, so it's quite young. It's probably the largest, it's the 5th largest religion in the world, but it's one of the youngest. And the first guru, when he came upon earth, he was actually, when he grew up, he was studying Hinduism and Islam as a child, but he didn't buy any of them. So he's quite well versed, and most Sikhs understand Islam quite well and Hinduism. But he felt that neither really addressed the situation that he wanted to address, which was there's one creator. This has always been what he taught, and that there's also the whole of humanity is just one big race. Like okay, we look differently. Like you're white, somebody else is brown, somebody else is black. It makes no difference really to God. So when we go in front of God, this physical body, we all know it gets left behind. So the soul gets in front. And when he went to Mecca, because he travelled quite a bit, they asked him the question, they said, who's better, a Hindu or a Muslim? And his response was, look, you know, without the right actions, they're both going to be crying when they get there, right? So it's going to be a test and they're going to fail. So the Guru was all about actions and how we behave while we're alive. Yeah? The word Sikh actually just means a disciple of a disciple. And the Guru is the teacher. So all Sikhi, or as what we believe, we call it Sikhi, is basically the teachings of the Guru. That's it. There were 10 Gurus. So the first Guru, he appointed the next Guru, and it flowed like that all the way up to the 10th Guru. The 10th Guru then passed on the Guruship to the text. So now what we have now is the eternal Guru, our text, the Guru Granth Sahib Ji. But what's cool about the Guru Granth Sahib Ji is that it was written by the Gurus. And they were there, they wrote it, then they compiled it, they checked it, and then it was that is our text. So it hasn't changed really since the Gurus put it together. And the teachings are very, I would say, enlightened teachings, if you want to say, sort of simply explain it. That there's one creator, we're all equal, male or female, black or white. The third Guru appointed female preachers back about 400 years ago. So equality between men and women has always been a part of Sikhi. There's something called langar. I don't know if you've ever been to a Gurdwara or a Sikh temple. In a Sikh temple, there's always free food. So this is like, we've got this leaflet which we give out to people. You can have a look at that. The last part here, the last part talks about free food. It's the principle of every Sikh faith, that there's always free food available in every Gurdwara, right? And that's basically a way to show 3 things, right? The first, that we're all equal, that hunger shouldn't exist, right? So we're using food as a way to fight hunger, which is obviously a very effective way to fight hunger. If someone's hungry, just give them food. And the Gurus, they set this thing up so in every single Gurdwara across the globe, there's always free food, right? 24/7. You can turn up and say, I'm hungry, and they'll feed you. And anybody can turn up, whether they're Sikh or not Sikh. If you go to the Golden Temple, you might have heard of this famous iconic building. It's like quite a big tourist place. Every day, roughly 40 to 100,000 people eat for free there, right? And it's not just, I would say, majority people aren't Sikh. So anybody can turn up. And this thing was instituted in every Gurdwara in order to first combat hunger, but secondly to make sure that people feel equal. So when we go there, whether you are a Sikh or not, whether you're rich or poor, we have to sit on the same floor and have the same food. And this was the institution to basically put equality into action. It's not enough to say we're all equal really, but then you go to a posh restaurant which serves you a £50 pizza, and then a poor person's buying the same pizza for £5, but you're not going to sit together, right? So that's the first thing. And the third thing is teaching compassion. We don't have a rule-based ethic. So our ethics are not based upon loads and loads of rules that you just follow. It's more principles, right? So principles and ethics based. So compassion for us is the source of all right action. So if we've got compassion for the common person, that means if they're hungry, we feed them, right? And where you learn compassion is when you're giving food away. A lot of people, they say, I believe that it's good to help people, but I never really realized how nice it is to help people until I started helping people. So a lot of the shelters, in the Christmas time, when people go and give food out in the shelters, they feel when they go there, oh, it's really nice. I really enjoyed giving away my time and giving away food or giving away my money. But unfortunately, the world is training us to believe that we shouldn't give anything away. Be greedy. So the gurus, instead of trying to say to people, oh, don't be greedy, they said that anyway. They said, oh, why don't we train people to be compassionate? And so by giving food away and helping people, that was a form of learning compassion. So this system still exists now. The gurus never discriminated based on religion. So they never said, oh, well, you're going to go to hell if you're a Muslim, or you're going to go to hell if you're a Christian. But one thing they were clear about is that we must believe in a creator. Why must we believe in a creator? It's kind of like a child came away from the mother and then say, oh, I never had a mother. You know, every mother is going to want that child to look at the mother. And because Waheguru, like God, sorry, I say Waheguru, that's our word for God. But because God is so great and so big, to God we are like babies. Yeah? And so the mother is looking at the child, and the child is ignoring the mother. Right? And by doing that, the child is doing two things. It's being a bit ungrateful, because the mother gave it birth. But secondly, the child is failing to realize the love that's available for the child if it just turns to the mum. You know, there's so much love waiting there. And that's really our main source. So the Guru is not saying be religious or else you'll go to hell. That's part of it. But the other side of that, be religious and experience God, meditate, because when you do that, you'll experience all this joy. So the Sikhs are not out there trying to say to people you should convert to Sikhism. But we definitely tell a Christian you should also wake up in the morning early and meditate upon God's name. You know, in the Bible it says God's name is great. But a lot of Christians nowadays don't actually take God's name.
So do you have like a certain amount of times per day?
Yeah. First thing in the morning.
Okay.
And then in the evening after work. And then night time before you go to sleep. The 3 times.
Like rules based, right? As opposed to principles based.
What do you do any fitness or anything like that? I mean, you're on rollerblades right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say you met someone who wanted to be an athlete in rollerblading, yeah? And you said to them, you know, every day you should train.
Yeah.
But is that now rules or is it like guidance?
Every day you should train, but you know that's on you kind of thing.
Yeah, but then if you want it, but if the trainer is not giving a good training doctrine, then he's letting the student down. If they say to the student, oh, train when you like.
Oh yeah.
That's not really fair, is it? The trainer should be giving the perfect rules, right? The perfect guidance on how to become really good as an athlete. And then it's up to the athlete if they want to progress or not. So it's the same with the Sikhs. We're told, like, you pray in the morning, pray in the evening, pray at night.
There are results though, aren't there? At the end of a training session.
Yeah.
You might have
100%.
Goal.
100%.
What do you?
Okay, so we have this thing. If you look in that leaflet, it's a bit hard for you. Balance. You're a bit unstable at the moment. But we've got this leaflet. If anyone wants one, you can come and grab one off me. But it's just a leaflet about the Sikh faith. We're not trying to convert anybody, so it's just about raising awareness. You see this picture here? This guy with this little thing coming out of his head. We believe that at the top of the head here, there's something called the 10th gate. And that 10th gate is like a gate of spirituality, right? And then when someone meditates, if they're blessed by God, then that gate will open, and it won't be like a hole in the head, so there's no need to worry about it, okay? It's more like a center of energy, and then you start to experience God. So there is definitely an end result of this kind of exercise. Just like my wife's not really into fitness, yeah? So when she sees me working out and I'm sweating, she thinks, oh, what a waste sitting there. And she jokes like she's knocking yourself on the head. But when I come out inside, I feel so good. But I can't express that to someone. The endorphins are flooding through me. But the same way, when you meditate, you can't get up and you might be on cloud 9. But you can't really tell someone. You just smile, right? So the results are definitely there. And even the results of speaking about God, like right now I'm talking to you, you might say, oh, he's feeling the same way as I am. But I feel right now I'm blissed out. Because, you know, every time you talk about God and the greatness of God, you get flooded with this bliss, if this thing is working, right? A lot of people, their heart and their souls aren't really connected to God. So when they sit down and pray, they get up after half an hour and they think, oh, well, I've done my good bit, but they haven't benefited themselves. This is because really, the prayer hasn't, for them, they haven't really started to pray yet, you know? But for us, we believe when you start calling God's name, you start experiencing God through love, it's unparalleled. And that's called bliss. I don't know if you've studied the Christian tradition or anything like that. There's a famous lady called Lady Julian of Norwich. She's a Christian mystic. So we sort of come inside what you might say, broadly our spiritual practice is very mystic. You know, so we believe that you can experience God while you're alive. And Lady Julian of Norwich would talk about these revelations of divine love and of bliss. And she was like, wow. And, you know, it's in every tradition. The Sufis have that. I mean, I don't know about how much my friend over there knows about it, but the Sufis have this idea of bliss. The Christians have it. Any religion that kind of believes in the one God and meditates upon God feels that bliss from higher, right? The Buddhists even believe it. They believe this to be the flowering petal, the 1,000-petal lotus. The Christians call this the Godhead, right? We believe this to be the 10th gate. So, and when you experience God there, it's nothing like it. And so, yeah, you said earlier about results. There's definitely results based on meditation. It's very hard to quantify that to somebody else. Like you're talking to me, you know, you might say, well, he's a sane person. I don't believe in God. But I will say to somebody, look, if I'm a sane person and I experience God through meditation, what's to stop you experiencing God through meditation? What's there to lose through meditation? Every single study in the world had proven that meditation makes you calmer. People that meditate live longer. They have more productive lives.
I understand it, but what I don't quite grasp is why not meditate to experience your own principles. So you kind of just you feel like you should live a certain way.
Yeah.
And so that you have your peaceful time and you sit there and you reflect on things and you do that and you meditate. But
Yeah.
you don't need to do it by thinking that someone else has given these principles.
It's not about thinking. It's not about thinking. It's about experiencing. It's like someone saying, why not just sit next to the sweets and appreciate how the sweets are made and think about making your own sweets rather than eating one.
Now you gotta eat.
Yeah, you got to eat them. So the person who wrote, but let's say 10 of us are sitting here. I don't know, what's your favourite chocolate like? I quite like those Lindt balls, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're really good. So imagine me sitting around, all of us here, and there's a whole pile of Lindt balls, right? And I'm explaining to you how the Lindt ball is created. I'm saying they take this chocolate from South America, they bring it to Switzerland, they boil it all up. And you're listening, none of us have ever had a Lindt ball. And some guy walks in who's had a Lindt ball and goes, oh, cheers, and puts one in his mouth. We're like, well, we were just discussing it. Why would you bother eating it? He goes, because I know what they taste like, and they're lovely. Why sit around here just talking about them? So it's kind of like that. The person who has tasted it, they don't think like, oh, I should just sit here discussing it and sitting calm, peacefully. They know if you experience God, it's the most mind-blowing experience ever. So why not? You know, and it's kind of like that, really. It's the people who have tasted it, they will say, go for it. You know, and if you were in that situation and you'd had those Lindt balls and people said, you would say, oh, just eat them, man. Stop talking about it. Get on with it. So it's like that, yeah. And even Christians that meditate, they will, even somebody watching the video right now who could be a Christian, they will resonate with that. Right? They will say, yeah, I get that, because when I meditate, I experience God, and so many of fellow Christians don't. And I'm sure, I mean, if there was people here, I don't know if there's any Christians that come in, I'm sure even Christians would come here and say, wake up in the morning and pray. Don't just be a Christian by name. Pray. Meditate. Experience God's name. Like, you know, on the one side we're saying don't take God's name in vain, right? Christians say that. But then why not take God's name in earnest? This is the one thing that I think Christians are missing out on today. They don't actually wake up in the morning and chant God's name. They don't say, I don't know, whatever name with Jesus or Hail Mary. They don't say again and again and again. People used to in the old, they used to have a rosary and they used to sit and meditate. They used to have pictures to look upon. They used to have all these things. And even Descartes, when he's writing, he calls it the meditations. So meditations is really just like thoughts coming from inside. It's like experiencing the truth inside you, and then what comes out of your mouth is an expression of what you experience inside. So Descartes, well, it's a funny thing, let's talk about Descartes, I studied him at university. He's sitting there and he's saying, I think, therefore I am, right? You've heard of that? You've heard of him? You know when he had that experience, he was in an oven, he was hiding in an aga. Yeah? His house had been attacked because he's a bourgeois in the French Revolution. He's sitting in an aga hiding away, and he has this transcendental experience. And he says, I'm not of the body. I'm made up of an incorporeal soul and a corporeal body. Yeah? And then he says that there must be a link where my soul and my body connect. And do you know what he calls that link? He says up here in the pineal gland, the top of the head, that must be where the soul and the body connect. And he says, I'm in my body like a captain in the ship. And I can leave the ship. The ship will sink, but I will not. Yeah. So, obviously, a captain that would abandon the ship. Not an ideal captain, some people might say. But still, we all have to abandon this ship. This physical ship has to be abandoned. The soul has to move on. And taking God's name is one way of earning the wealth of God's name. So for us, a Christian is not somebody who's of a different religion in that sense. It is somebody of a different faith, but the essence of a Christian and the essence of a Muslim and the essence but they're all the same. That you must connect to God's name. Yeah. And we're here to actually spread God's name, the goodwill of God's name, not to spread Sikhi. So if someone was standing here right now, and is a Christian or a Muslim, and they go home and they start to meditate, we've done our job. We haven't made our job by making more Sikhs. We've done our job by encouraging other people to meditate upon God's name as well. You know.
Well, you make a lot of sense. And
What's your background? It's interesting. What's your?
I mean, I have religious family, Christian family, but me myself, I don't practice any religion or have faith, to be honest.
What's your beliefs about life in itself?
I'm a scientist, I guess.
What do you study?
I'm a tax advisor.
Okay, you're not a scientist. Oh, so you're a tax. Okay, I thought you said you were a scientist.
No, scientist in
okay, it's okay, science. Okay, we have a lot of science in our faith. It's interesting. I just saw something that we have got a few videos on it. We have a YouTube channel. It's called The Basics of Sikhi, and we have a video on the Sikhi science. One of the things the Guru says is that the world has not just been created once. He believes in. He says that there's many times the world has been expanded. So they believe in this expansion, that the one creator made a sound. And from that sound, everything expanded out. It sounds suspicious like the Big Bang, right? And obviously, the bang wasn't a bang, right? So if we were there 14.3 billion years ago, and we were sitting there listening in, would we hear a bang? So what's the sound? We don't know the sound, right? But there was a sound. Why was there a sound? Because there was hydrogen. Hydrogen was the very first thing that was created. Yeah? And when hydrogen was created, there was an atmosphere, because it was all together. And so there was a sound. What was that sound? We call it Ong. So there's a big Ong theory, right? When that Ong happened, everything expanded out, and matter was created. And that expansion is where we came from. And we believe that happened many times. Has just happened once, happened twice, and many times. And then even Einstein said that there is, he believes in the cyclical theory of creation. It's not just once. So we're very logical in our approach. Like, there's no need to deny the creation of the world to the Big Bang. There's no need to deny even evolution. But the thing is, who's guiding that? The one. And if someone wants to say, well, what's the proof of this God? You know, people are going to say, where's the proof of God? We will say, well, the proof of God is when you sit and you experience God, and voila, you know, there is a God. Before that, we're just conjecturing. So, you know, even if you have no faith, and there's somebody else a Christian, they might not have any faith either. What have they got? They've got hope, right? Somebody's got hope, somebody else has got faith. I think the real faith comes from the experience of God, because that's when you know, right? Before that, you don't know. And I've met many people of different religions who don't actually have deep experience, right? Even from Sikh background. So when we go out there and we tell people, what we say is, you're not going to get it unless you experience God. It's like, you know, when we were growing up, right? On TV, there will be love songs. Like when you're a teenager, you're like, oh, it's soppy stuff, right? It's boring. When you have your first sort of, I don't know, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever relationship, and you fall in love, straight away you understand those love songs. Before that, they didn't make any sense. So religion is a bit like that. When you look at Christ talking about the Lord, or you look at Islam, or you look at Sikh gurus talking about how much they love God, it doesn't really make any sense until you fall in love with God. And after that, it just makes perfect sense. So yeah, I would say, don't worry about having no faith in God. Focus on helping people, like compassionate giving. Like I said earlier about giving away free food. You could come to a Gurdwara and you could serve. You don't have to be just taking the free food. You could wash up, you could cook food, you could, you know, turn up every morning from 3 o'clock in the morning to night at 10 o'clock. There's people in the Gurdwara in the giving, you know, cooking food, cleaning, just doing service, helping people. And you know, people are homeless, people of all types come down there and have free food. So you could come and just help out. Why is that important? Because when we build that compassion inside us, for us that's like the first step towards God. The first step is to be a good human being. It's not necessary for everybody to walk in and say, well, we must experience God first. The reality is that you have to be a good person to walk towards God. But in today's world, there's not many chances to learn to be a good person. If you watch TV, if you just follow society, you're going to end up being a selfish, self-orientated person. Because that's what the world is making you, right? But if you decided to, every weekend you were helping people, naturally you become a nicer person. You agree with me?
Yeah.
Right. So you don't have to tell people, be a nice person. Just get them to help people. And they will become nice people. It's very simple, right? It's like the chocolate thing. There's no point telling people, be nice, be nice, be nice. Experience being nice. You like being nice. The soul itself is actually made up of God. So if God is nice, the soul is going to like to be nice as well. So you come from, right? It's your origin. I mean, it's very logical. But again, the gurus were quite unique in the sense they didn't just teach, they actually acted. They did things, like they made this langar thing. You know, they say, forgive your enemy. Many people say, forgive your enemy, right? The gurus actually, they demonstrated this thing of forgiving your enemy. Very amazing example. the 5th Guru, he was tortured and killed. Simply because he didn't want to convert to another religion. Yeah? He's tortured and killed. Right?
Which one's that then?
The 5th Guru. You will guess that. Now, his son could have had anger against Islam, but he didn't. The 6th Guru actually made a mosque for some poor Muslims. It's an unparalleled example in the history of mankind where the head of a religion has made a praying place for people of another religion. Why? Because we're all equal. So he's saying to people, you don't have to convert to Sikhism. If you want to pray to God and you want to pray through Islam, we'll make you a mosque. But make sure you pray. You know? The 9th Guru did something even, what you might say, not say greater, but even more amazing to the common person. The 9th Guru was approached by Muslims, by Hindus, who said, we are being converted against our will to another faith, to Islam. But they were the Mughals, right? The Mughals weren't really good Muslims. They were quite fanatical. So Aurangzeb and his people, they decided, we're going to convert all the Hindus to Islam. They came to him to say, help us. What the Guru did, he said, what I will do is I will challenge the Mughal kingdom. If you can convert me, you can convert them as well. But if you can't convert me, you have to leave them alone. An amazing challenge. Can you imagine the head of a faith saying to the world, try to convert me for the sake of these people who weren't even of that religion. So the Hindus are here. The Guru says, okay, he was tortured. He was imprisoned. And then in front of him, 3 of his Sikhs were killed. One was beheaded. One was burnt alive. One was boiled alive. And the third one was sawn in half. And then in the end, he was beheaded. But during all that time, he never once shook in his faith. And then in the end, he was beheaded himself. So we've got in 1675, not that long ago, 1675, the 9th Guru of the Sikhs being killed for the principle of freedom of religion. For a faith that wasn't even his, that he doesn't agree with, because they believe in an idol worship, they believe in ritualism. But still, he died for their faith. Like, if that example is such an amazing example, when I read about that example, I was so moved. I didn't have a turban and a beard. I was like, this is an example that I can believe in. I believe that the person who did this, that person has got to be speaking some truth, right? And when I read what he wrote, and the writing is so amazing, I thought, yeah, this is the person I want to follow. And so that's how I became a Sikh, a practicing Sikh, you know. And really, how Sikhism always happened is that people looked at the Gurus, there was 10 of them, and each of them did such amazing things, like I said about the 9th Guru, but he was the 9th. There was 8 before him who lived such amazing lives. And in the end, people were like, I'm convinced you are from God. And what you teach me is true, because it works. You know, when people meditated, they experienced God, they were like, yeah, it works. So not only have you got the amazing theory, you've also got this amazing, thing taking place, that when you meditate, it works. I mean, what I would say to you is like, in Southall, where I live, yeah, in West London, at 4 in the morning, every day, there's about 200 people that come to the temple, 4 in the morning. And they meditate for 1 hour. They chant, and what do? They just chant God's name. They say Vaheguru again and again for an hour. Like, you got to be a special kind of person to wake up every day, get to a place at 4 a.m. and chant one word, right? And they're all normal people, because Sikhs don't have, we don't have priests that live separate from the world. They're like your postman, your bus driver, they're like your bank manager, there's like your tax advisor. These people are waking up every morning for 1 hour chanting God's name. So if you were sitting in that audience, right, would you not think, hold on, there's something in this? These people aren't crazy. They serve food to people, they work, they share, they have families, they've got kids. But every morning they're here at 3 in the morning. Why? Something there in it. There's something there. There's something inside you that makes you think, is there more to life than just this mundane existence? There's something inside us that seeks something bigger. Do you agree with me? Anybody agree with me? There's something inside, right? There's a desire, right? And and the Gurus say that inside you there's a hole, and the hole is as big as God, and nothing is as big as God. The only one thing that can fill that hole is God. But it must be the experience of God. It's not believing in God and then getting this kind of, you know, when people get this pride that if I believe in this religion, I'm going to go to heaven, and all you lot are going to go to hell. That's a very dangerous thing to get.
Yeah,
it's very dangerous. It's very self-righteous pride.
So much about, seeking for this,
yeah.
But it makes no sense.
Yeah?
Yeah. Thank you for teaching me.
No, it's a pleasure. We have a YouTube channel, like I said to you. There's about 1,000 videos up there. We haven't been, we've been 1,001, yeah. And they're short videos, some of them, very like Q&A. This is the first one at Speaker's Corner, but we often have street conversation with people. You're welcome to come, obviously watch the videos, but also if you want to come to a Gurdwara, you can contact us on Facebook, because we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and then we'll take you to one. So every Sunday, tonight, I'll teach at the local Gurdwara near me. We have like a session, 6 or 7 every Sunday evening. We get about 200-300 people coming down, you know, and it's all in English.
All right, I'll hold you to it. I expect you to take me, yeah?
Yeah,
Good.
Pleasure. Nice meeting you. What's your name?
Josie.
Josie, nice to meet you. Jam Jagraj. All right, thanks mate, cheers.
Vaheguru